"This way, hurry up," said one of the men, pushing Tom and Kamal towards the door of the workshop. "Get inside," said the man. Tom and Kamal stepped inside and stopped, shocked. Dinya was standing in the workshop. He had the gun in his hand. For a few seconds he stared at them silently. Well, he said slowly. "Our friend, the Englishman, very clever. Oh yes, very clever. And you?" His face was red with anger as he looked at Kamal. He stepped forward and hit Kamal in the face. Tom moved forward. "Don't move, or I will kill you now," said Dinya. The gun was pointing at Tom. "Get over there." Tom and Kamal stood beside the workbench. Dinya looked at them both for a long moment. "So," he said finally, "you've seen all this." He pointed to the plastic bags and the onyx ornaments. "Very clever of you. We should have killed the English girl before. Then this would never have happened." "Where is she?" asked Tom. "Where is Angela?" "Oh, don't worry about her. She's okay. Let's say she is a guest at my villa. You'll be able to speak to her very soon. I'm sure you will have a lot to talk about before you all die." He laughed, a cold, cruel laugh. "Okay, let's go," said Dinya to this man. "We're taking these two with us." The man pushed Tom and Kamal out of the workshop and threw the shop to the door. The Mercedes stood in the street. "Get inside," said Dinya. Tom looked up and down the street, but there was no one there to help them. "Don't try anything foolish, Englishman. You can't escape. Get in." Tom and Kamal sat in the back of the car, with a man on each side of them. The others got in the front. They drove away from the shop, turned onto the main road, and drove across the city towards the suburbs. "Take a look," said Dinya, smiling. "Istanbul by night. So many people, so much life. Take your last look at it, you foolish young man." "It's the last time you'll say it." "What?" began Tom. "Has Angela got to do with this?" "We needed her at the beginning," replied Dinya. "She was very useful. She helped us to arrange the export of the things to England. She didn't know anything about our business. But one day she left something in the office and came back for it in the evening. Most unfortunate for her. She saw what we were doing. After that, I couldn't let her go." "Where is she?" asked Tom urgently. "Oh, I'm not a cruel man," replied Dinya. "I didn't kill her. I've kept her in my villa." "That's because you didn't know what to do," said Tom. "Exactly. But we have no choice now. You know too much about us." "What about the drugs when they arrived in Europe?" Tom asked. "That's easy," replied Dinya. "We have friends in England. The goods are delivered to dealers in England, and our friends buy them. Your fiancé helped us a lot. I shall soon be rich, very rich." The Mercedes turned off the main road and drove along the small street towards Dinya's villa. The car drove in through the gates of the villa, up to the house. It stopped near the front door. It was a big villa with 3 floors. There were steps leading up to the front door. "Out," said Dinya. They got out of the car. There was one small light above the front door of the villa. The rest of the house was in complete darkness. Tom looked around. He was looking for a way to escape. Dinya saw him. "If you try to escape, I'll shoot you," he said. "Now get inside." They started walking up the steps to the front door. "Stop!" shouted a voice. Suddenly, a blinding light came on. The garden of the villa was full of men running towards them. For a second, Dinya stood frozen on the steps, shocked. Then he ran towards the door. It opened suddenly and two men jumped out. They had guns pointing at Dinya. "Stop! This is the police. Stop or we'll shoot." Dinya dropped his gun and slowly put his hands above his head. His men did the same. "The police," Kamal said. "We're safe." At the moment, the door of the villa opened and a girl ran out. "Tom!" she shouted. "Tom!" Tom turned around quickly. "Angela!" For a long time they stood, unable to speak, holding each other. "Oh, Tom," said Angela. "You're here at last." He looked into her eyes. "Angela, my love," he whispered. "Are you all right?" "Oh, yes, I'm all right. I'm fine." "The police came here to the villa about an hour ago. We knew you were coming. The police were following you." "Oh, Tom, I was so worried that Dinya would kill you." She put her arms around him again. "Oh," said Tom suddenly. "Angela, my love, I want you to meet a very good friend of mine." He turned and smiled at Kamal. "Angela, this is Kamal." "Hello, Kamal. Nice to meet you," said Angela. "Hello," he said. "I've never met you before, but I feel I know you very well." They laughed. "Kamal has been wonderful," said Tom. "Without his help, we wouldn't be here now." "Oh, I only helped you a little," said Kamal. "A little?" said Tom. They watched as Dinya and his men were taken to a police car. "How did the police know what was happening?" asked Tom. At that moment, a car drove up to the villa. A man got out of the car and walked towards them. He smiled. "Hello, Mr. Smith," he said. "We meet again." "Mr. Pennington," smiled Tom. Chapter 14. Time for a holiday. Later that night, Tom, Kamal, and Angela were relaxing. They were sitting in Mr. Pennington's flat in the consulate building. David Pennington was telling them what had happened. "Julie came to see me here at the consulate," he explained. "She told me about her conversation with Tom. Then I was convinced that Tom's story was true. I contacted the Turkish police again. After that, I tried to contact you, Tom, but you had left your hotel. We thought you'd gone back to England." "No," smiled Tom. He looked at Angela. "I had some urgent business here in Istanbul." They all laughed. "How did they treat you in the villa?" asked Tom. "They treated me very well," replied Angela. "When my virus was very bad, they took me to the doctor, but I was terribly worried on the Monday you were arriving in Istanbul. Then he knew you were coming because I had told him earlier, and I knew he was going to send someone to follow you. I was terribly worried." "They made a big mistake when they took you to the doctor," said Tom. "If I hadn't seen you from the bus—" "Don't," said Angela. "Don't even think about it." "What about the car accident?" said Kamal. "How did they arrange that? I wonder whose body was in the burned-out car." There was silence while they thought about that. "The police will have to find that out," said Pennington finally. "It was a very clever plan of Dinya's," said Tom. "Very clever." "Yes," agreed Pennington. "And drug smugglers like Dinya can make millions of pounds." "Well, it's over now," said Angela. She turned to Tom. "Do you remember the letter I wrote to you, Tom? I said that life here in Istanbul is very interesting. I was right, wasn't I?" They all laughed. "Yes," said Tom, "a little bit too interesting for me. After all this, do you know what I want?" "What?" "I want a really dull, uninteresting holiday in Istanbul."